right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Wild weather timeout. How long the break from stormy weather lasts, and why the next round of active weather is expected to have less of an impact on your plans.
Raising a stink.
Some teachers have said they have sent kids to the nurse for nausea or headaches.
Tonight, complaints of a toxic odor roaming the halls of a brand new St. Charles County high school. Our top story, mourning Pope Francis.
The sadness that we all feel at the passing of our beloved Holy Father.
Catholics from around the world and here in the bi-state reflect on the pontiff's legacy.
He often reached out to people who were overlooked and wanted to reassure them that they weren't forgotten.
And look ahead to the future of the church. Tonight, Cardinals from around the world have begun making their pilgrimage to Vatican City for their first meeting since the death of the 266th leader of the Catholic Church. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. Pope Francis, the reformer from Argentina who rattled the Catholic Church's traditionalists, died this morning from a stroke at the age of 88. His death came less than 24 hours after making a public Easter Sunday appearance. The pontiff was recently hospitalized for weeks for double pneumonia. Here in the bi-state, Catholics gathered for memorial masses to honor the pontiff.
And 5 on Your Side's Laura Barczewski met with. And earlier today, a memorial mass celebrated at the Cathedral Basilica in St. Louis. Archbishop Mitchell Rosansky led the celebration of life and encouraged the crowd to continue and carry on the gospel message as Pope Francis proclaimed his own life.
Pope Francis was a man who loved to be with people. Being with people really gave him energy, and to be with God's people, to have that blessing of being with his people on Easter Sunday, I couldn't think of a better way to be called home to the Lord.
Plans for the Pope's funeral have not been released. It is expected to be held within the next 4 to 6 days. Tonight, we learned President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump plan to attend those services. The president also signed an executive order directing all federal and state flags to fly at half-staff in remembrance of Pope Francis.
Tonight, the Archbishop of New York and St. Louis native Cardinal Timothy Dolan is headed to the Vatican to participate in the College of Cardinals. Earlier today, he talked about the symbolism of the timing of the pontiff's death.
The last words of Blessed Easter, as he gave us his blessing, you couldn't have choreographed it better. And we thank him for that. The way he lived and the way he died, he was a great teacher.
The Vatican will soon prepare for one of the world's most watched transitions of power. We were at this sacred ceremony back in 2013, spending time with Cardinal Dolan. We saw a process steeped in tradition, yet filled with human emotion.
In the Eternal City tonight, prayer and a profound silence in St. Peter's Square. The passing of Pope Francis initiates one of Catholicism's most solemn transitions as Rome prepares to bid farewell to a pontiff while the faithful begin their vigil for what comes next.
Buonasera.
The last time we witnessed the white smoke rise was in 2013, when an Argentine cardinal stepped onto that historic balcony as Pope Francis.
There is nothing like this in the world, where thousands of people all come together, speaking different languages, all just to celebrate.
The cardinals will soon head to Rome, including our own Timothy Cardinal Dolan, the Archbishop of New York. He was in good humor when we caught up with him before the last conclave.
How are you?
I'm very good.
How are you doing? Come a long way from St. Louis.
Yes. How are you feeling?
Did you bring me any steak and shake?
I wish I had.
Imo's Pizza.
We followed Cardinal Dolan to his titular church in Rome, Our Lady of Guadalupe, where he celebrated Mass before entering the Sistine Chapel's sacred silence.
Dolan, Spondio, Vovio.
In the coming days, 120 cardinal electors will enter that chapel, leaving behind the outside world. Under Michelangelo's watchful gaze, they'll cast their ballots until one man receives a 2/3 majority. Their decision will be announced to the world through the most ancient form of communication, smoke. Black for no decision, white for a new pope. Tonight, as the faithful keep vigil and cardinals whisper their prayers, in an age of instant messaging, the world waits for traditions that transcend time itself, and a moment that will unite billions in a shared moment of wonder.
And traditionally, there are 9 days of mourning, which includes the Pope's funeral. The conclave to elect a new Pope typically starts in 15 to 20 days.
And here in the bi-state, Catholics gathered for a memorial mass to honor the pontiff who touched so many lives. 5 on your side's Laura Barcheski takes us to the Metro East.
I think about how truly Pope Francis was a pilgrim of mercy.
Here in Belleville, the community honored the life of Pope Francis, who took the name Francis after St. Francis of Assisi to signify simplicity, humility, and concern for the poor. Before taking that name, he was born Jorge Mario Bergoglio in Buenos Aires, Argentina. He was ordained a Jesuit priest and eventually carried that philosophy into his time as Pope. Belleville Bishop Michael McGovern was appointed by Pope Francis in 2020 and met him in 2022. Just under a month before his passing, Pope Francis appointed Bishop McGovern as Archbishop of Omaha, one of 44 appointments he made from the hospital.
The day I received that news was the day that the Pope was leaving the hospital.
McGovern says the last 24 hours of the Pope's life were beautiful.
Amazingly, he was able to get in the Pope Mobile and go around St. Peter's Square and bless people.
McGovern invited leaders of other Christian faiths and area priests, including Monsignor John Myler, for Mass, celebrating Pope Francis, who Myler says led by example.
Around the world, there is just one Pope, and he is the bridge, the pontiff that brings believers together.
Monsignor Myler says he met the Pope several times, and there's one moment he'll never forget, as that spoke to his love for people as he greeted recently married couples in Rome.
I once saw a bride reach out and hug the Pope, and of course the security, no touch of Papa. There was kind of a chaotic moment there. But Papa, Pope, father, grandfather, that was a moment that I'll always remember.
May his soul, the soul of all the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace.
Reporting in Belleville, Laura Barcheski, 5 on your side.
And our coverage of the death of Pope Francis also continues on KSDK.com. Text the word Pope to 314-425-5355 and we'll send you a link to your phone.
Tonight, we're getting a better look at the damage on both sides of the river from the Easter Sunday storm.
The National Weather Service now confirms an EF0 tornado touchdown in Millstadt. The 85-mile-per-hour winds knocked down a shed on a family farm. The storms also downed power lines and damaged fences in Waterloo. There are no reports of any injuries. And tonight, cleanup from Easter storms are underway in central Missouri. In Columbia, a severe storm shredded a recycling building. Homes in Callaway County were badly damaged as well. And the storm's strong winds knocked over trees in Springfield and Carl Junction.
It's all clear in St. Louis tonight, and we should have a few more dry days to enjoy. Weather Impact Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is also tracking a warm-up.
Yeah, and I think we're all kind of happy that we're going to have a few dry days right after the rain from this weekend. That's a look out in St. Charles. Looks a lot different tonight than what we were dealing with last night with the storms rolling through. Those storms that came through yesterday evening, here are the 4 tornadoes in our area. The longest one was the one that set down around Madonnaville, just northeast of Maystown, and went up towards Waterloo High School. Again, they were all pretty small and by tornado standards weak, about 60-mile-per-hour winds to up to 100 and some of the damage indicators, but that was about it, and very localized. The rainfall wasn't so much localized. We ended up with 3 to 5 inches in a lot of places south and southeast. That pushes us back to 8.7 inches for the month. So that's more than 5.5 inches above average, and we're at the 6th wettest on record now in St. Louis, with the wettest being in 1893. All right, we're going to stay dry into tomorrow, likely into Wednesday, probably into Thursday as well. Our forecast for early tomorrow morning, mainly clear skies. Cool in the outlying areas in the 40s, but rapidly jumping into the 50s in the metro area.
Tonight, some students and teachers at Francis Howell North High School say their brand new school building is making them sick.
5 on your side's Brent Solomon is looking into the complaints of a noxious odor that's been lingering the hallways for months. Brent?
Well, this is why I spent the evening getting answers. One student tells me it smells like raw sewage in the halls. The issue surfaced in July when the new school building first opened, and I've learned classes have been shuffled around as a result. The new project boasts 100 new classrooms, 2 gyms, science labs, and specialty learning spaces. No one would have imagined another addition.
Just complaining about the smell.
An odor of gas on the west side of the new Francis Howell North High School.
3 of our teachers are having the significant effects. It seems to be mostly in their rooms. But there have been other teachers who have missed days. Teachers have said they have sent kids to the nurse for nausea or headaches.
Some classes got moved to either a different space or the lunchroom. I think a lot of classes went in the auditorium.
So I asked the district office what's going on. A spokesperson responding in part, air quality tests have not indicated the presence of any harmful gases or fumes, but we are aware that some individuals have reported negative effects from the odor. The district wants to quickly identify the cause as much as anyone, and we've been cooperating with the construction management company throughout this process. That construction company addressed the school board just last week. It has tried to pinpoint the problem since December.
It's difficult. One of the problems is the building's 400,000 square feet. There's 23 air handler systems on the rooftop unit. They're complex systems as well. There's literally miles of plumbing piping.
So this has been going on since July, and the contractor keeps saying, "Oh, we did this and it's fixed," or "We did this and it's fixed," and it's really not.
The district just hired a third party to try to get to the root of the stench. Last week, that company got to work, and answers could come by the end of the week. We'll be sure to update you.
Thank you, Brent. Well, St. Louis hockey fans are feeling a little blue tonight.
Yeah, within the hour, the Blues lost Game 2 of their Stanley Cup playoff series to the Winnipeg Jets. Blues now down 2-0 in the best-of-7 series. A large crowd did gather at Ballpark Village to cheer on the team as they played on the road. The series now shifts to Enterprise Center for Games 3 and 4. Those games will be played Thursday and Sunday. Sports Director Frank Cusimano will have much more on tonight's game later on in sports.
Massive sinkholes putting the microscope on St. Louis's aging and crumbling infrastructure.
We have some sewers that date back to the time of the Civil War.
Tonight, the talks about a fix that will take a lot of time and money.
Soaking up the sun. Nice to be able to say that for Tuesday. The warmer patterns settling in across the region, and why the next round of active weather won't have as much of a punch as some of these other spring systems.
Tonight, 2 young children in Illinois are out of the hospital. Police say they were accidentally shot by their own father while he was cleaning his gun at the kitchen table. The shooting happened Friday morning at the family's home in the town of St. Elmo. That's in Fayette County, about an hour and 15 minutes east of St. Louis. According to police, a bullet struck a 4-year-old in the left arm and then grazed the right arm of a 5-year-old. The Fayette County State's attorney is now reviewing the case for possible charges.
Take a look at these guns. St. Louis Metropolitan Police say they seized them from 2 juveniles. One of the weapons is equipped with an automatic firearm conversion. Officers arrested the 2 juveniles. They are suspected of shooting a 15-year-old in the foot last night in North City. Tonight, 3 men are facing felony charges accused of causing chaos on the streets of St. Louis. Police say they were part of a group of about 100 dirt bikers who were driving around recklessly Friday and Saturday night. Police say this was part of an organized event promoted online. Investigators now want your help to find the others involved.
When you're talking about potentially 100, if not more, dirt bikes that are traveling in a mass group of numbers here, that is incredibly dangerous. They are a nuisance. They are breaking the law, and we have to hold them accountable.
Police say they're working on a long-term plan to stop these dangerous street takeovers in case the group returns.
Just hours ago, heavy equipment arrived at the site of a massive sinkhole at 17th and Cass in North St. Louis. It's one of a handful of craters forming along city streets in recent days.
Tonight, our political editor, Mark Maxwell, is getting answers from City Hall and the Metropolitan Sewer District on what can be done to fix St. Louis's crumbling infrastructure.
It's an eye-popping symbol of collapse.
We have some sewers that date back to the time of the Civil War. I mean, that's how old some of the infrastructure around here is.
This gaping sinkhole swallowed tons of crumbling brick just blocks away from the old Pruitt-Igoe housing projects.
Oh my God, I'm just glad no one was driving when it collapsed.
The scene was so stunning, crowds stopped to gawk and take pictures. Eddie Burns, who navigates holes in the sidewalk or crosswalk, said all he could do is laugh.
Oh yeah, now it's a hole in the city.
Still, a hole this big gave him second thoughts.
What else gonna happen? The ground gonna sink all the way across while I'm riding down the sidewalk.
Besides,
there are potholes up and down Cass.
At City Hall, the Board of Aldermen is returning to the start of a new session
to make sure that they try to make that sinkhole as safe as possible.
This particular sinkhole opening up in the heart of Alderman Rasheen Aldridge's 14th Ward.
Hopefully this get addressed very soon because we don't want this sinkhole to spread to eventually get to their homes.
City leaders fear their options are somewhat limited as the sewers belong to the Metropolitan Sewer District.
We met with the mayor's office this morning and several city departments.
Now that the roads are blocked off,
the contractor is out here today getting mobilized, mostly just getting equipment here.
An investigation is underway. First, into what caused the sewer and street to give way.
Almost 10,000 miles of sewer lines, some of them very old. Sometimes we're going to miss them.
Then construction crews set their sights on a fix. How much could it cost?
I don't think we're at a place right now where we know what the price tag is, if not replacing all, but maybe the most critical ones, the ones that are a little older than ones that are newer.
Reporting in St. Louis, Mark Maxwell, 5 on your side.
Right now, MSD is working on a $7 billion project to bring the city's sewer infrastructure into compliance with the Federal Clean Water Act. We are told replacing the old brick sewers could take 15 years.
If you have a federal student loan in default, get ready to pay up. Just hours ago, the Department of Education announced it's ending a nearly 5-year pandemic-era pause on payments. Collections begin May 5th. Borrowers in default are urged to start making a monthly payment, enroll in an income-driven repayment plan, or sign up for loan rehabilitation.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is back with the weather impact forecast, and finally, we're going to have some dry days ahead.
Which is what we need.
Yes.
Do you see the excitement on my face? I mean, we are talking about some decent weather here the next couple of days, really feeling like spring. Outside of the allergies, which the tree pollen's through the roof, you're going to want to be outside and enjoy it the next couple of days. Lambert, right now, looking good. We're looking at weather impacts here, tracking as we head towards the weekend. We find a chance for some showers and then eventually thunderstorms towards the end of the week. But it's not looking like it's widespread problematic storms. You know, that's been the pattern we've been in for the last month and a half. The storms that come at us do this kind of thing, produce severe weather across the area. These 4 tornadoes just south and east of St. Louis, all quick spin-ups that happened during the evening hours yesterday. The longest one was that 7-mile track across Monroe County in Illinois. Then you had that little area down in Randolph County and a couple of little spots here. This one, eastern portions of Monroe County, just southeast of Columbia. And then you had another little area just off to the south of Millstadt. And again, we weren't talking about massive damage, but had you put that into, say, Belleville, right in town, or right in town in Waterloo instead of just on the edge, the south side of town, then you're talking more damage and more problems. At least we don't have to deal with that, at least through Thursday, and probably not until next week. Tomorrow's a glorious day. We'll start in the 40s in the outlying areas, a lot of sunshine. We're back close to 80 tomorrow afternoon. Clouds will be on the increase Wednesday into Thursday. I think most of the rain Thursday is still out to our west. We will be tracking another weather system in here for Friday, and that means the chances of showers and thunderstorms does go up as we head into Friday afternoon, and you're thinking, uh-oh, here comes another storm system. Unlike many that we have seen this spring, this one does not have a strong jet stream sweeping over it with those strong upper-level winds. That means that if there are any thunderstorms that get going along this front, odds are they're going to be much more isolated, not as strong, and not lingering for lengthy periods of time. That's good news, bottom line. 59 degrees right now. 70 was our high today. 54 was a low. You're going back into the 40s out the door early tomorrow morning under a mainly clear sky. We will have sunshine tomorrow. We're turning the winds around out of the south at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. That's going to push those temperatures right around 80 degrees. You're right in that ballpark again on Wednesday with a little extra cloud cover. Low chances for any rain on Thursday. You got opportunities to get some yard work done here and get out and be outside and actually enjoy it without, having to dash inside because you got bolts of lightning or strong winds coming in. We don't really see that. Perhaps early next week, Monday into Tuesday, there might be a severe weather threat then, but I think Friday's a stretch to get storms that are all that strong.
And I bet you're happy about the break.
Thrilled to death.
All right.
Doing a happy dance.
Yes.
Frank is here with sports.
Mike, the Blues in Winnipeg, the Cardinals in Atlanta, and a former Mizzou football star is now a high school coach in the area. We'll be right back. You don't want to say must game in a game 2, but you've likely heard the stat. Teams that go up 2-0 at home in a 7-game series win that series 80% of the time. Let's head to Winnipeg. Jordan Biddington came out sharp. Watch this number on a Jets break in the first. A little later, Mark Scheifele moves in and gets the goal, which actually goes off Jimmy Snuggerud's left skate. However, the rookie made up for it with 1 second left in the first with a rocket goal to tie the game at 1. Second period, no scoring, but Scheifele's momentum driving him into Binner reminds you of Nick Kyprios and Grant Fuhr, but Binner got up and stayed in the game. Third period, Colton Parayko will knock the stick out of Binnington's hand, and Kyle Connor will beat the defenseless goaltender, 2-1 Jets. And the Blues only managed 5 shots on goal in the third, and Connor Hellebuck was stopping them all. Jets win 2-0, lead the series 2-0.
Winnipeg's made one more play than us, both games. Shots are dead even, so they're just making one more play, and their best players are making them.
I like to repeat the quote once a year. It's from Hall of Famer Bob Lemon. The 2 most important things in life are good friends and a good bullpen. Unfortunately, the Cardinals didn't have the latter tonight in Atlanta. Second inning, scoreless game. Pedro Pages with a rocket to right. Nolan Gorman was going to hold up at third. However, it's an errant throw, and Gorman would score. Pages would later score an infield hit by Victor Scott. The Cardinals took a 3-2 lead into the 8th inning, but Sean Murphy will hit a 3-run homer off JoJo Romero to make it 7-3 Braves. Now, the Cardinals did battle back. Wilson Contreras hit a 2-run blast. Not enough. The Birds have lost 5 in a row and 10 of 11 on the road this season, the final 7-6. Last week on Sports Plus, we profiled former Vashon basketball star Kennard Davis. He had a brilliant year at SIU Carbondale and has entered the portal. He has visited Ohio State and LSU and will visit BYU and Mississippi State. It could be a $1 million deal, and Kennard will make his decision live on 5 on Your Side in the very near future. Cooper Flagg made the announcement today. This one had no suspense. He's declaring for the NBA draft. The 18-year-old Duke freshman was the player of the year in college basketball, and he will be the top pick in the draft. The season is over for the starting quarterback of the Battlehawks. Manny Wilkins suffered a torn Achilles tendon. Wilkins is a charismatic 29-year-old from Arizona State who was the leader of this squad. Max Duggan, who had an outstanding career at TCU, will now take over the reins at quarterback. Let's head to Town and Country and Principia High School. Take a look at their new head football coach. He's Matty Mock. Yes, the same Matty Mock who threw for 42 touchdowns at Mizzou and the same guy who set 5 national passing records while in high school. Now, Matty had a few off-the-field issues in Columbia, but he's tried to turn it into a positive.
I look at it as, man, I was young, and now I take those lessons, and it's a matter of if you learn from them. Are you making those same mistakes and things of that nature? But now it's like it just gives me more to provide and guide kids, to make sure we're going in the right direction. Because one thing I like to talk with everybody about is we want to win on the field and we want to win off the field.
Principia hasn't won much lately. They were 1-9 last season, but with his mind, they're going to have some fun out there.
All right, Frank, thanks.
Well, a new way for nostalgia lovers to get their kicks on Route 66, the Missouri Park shining a light on history. Here is hoping the third time is the charm for actor John Cusack's visit to Stiefel Theater. He'll be hosting an intimate screening and conversation of his 2000 film High Fidelity on August 16th. Now, he previously canceled similar events featuring his film Say Anything in 2023 and 2024. Tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. Pre-sale tickets begin Wednesday morning.
A new park in Missouri will let you take a trip back in time down the Mother Road. Route 66 Neon Park will open next month in St. Robert. It will feature nearly a dozen refurbished neon signs that lit up America's most famous highway in its heyday. This includes the St. Louis Motel and the Stanley Quartel in Bridgeton. A lighting ceremony will be held May 9th. And Scott has one final check of our weather.
Yeah, and it's going to be nice and bright tomorrow and comfortable. You know, I'm thinking going down 44, aka old Route 66. We're almost into float trip weather the next couple of days. Low 80s, decent amount of sunshine. We do have that rain chance coming in here by Thursday night into Friday. Probably not bad storms, though, this time.
There you have it, 5 on your side at 10. We're always streaming on 5+.
We hope you'll start your day with Today in St. Louis. That starts at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.